You know, guys, Call of Duty, it's been, let's be honest, one of the most popular games pretty much every year for like the last decade and a half. You know, it's been pretty popular, right? And when you think back to those just toxic, horrible game chats, man, Modern Warfare 2 is pretty much right up there at the top, right? But thankfully, Infinity Ward and Modern Warfare, they're doing a lot now to combat that. And in order to combat the issues of society today, they have enacted a complete removal of the OK sign from their game. I mean, I think that's deserving of a round of applause, guys. Come on, can we get a hand for him here? Okay, back on a little bit of a round of seriousness here. 4chan has essentially baited Call of Duty pretty hard. Now, 4chan over like the last 3 years, you know, it's always kind of gotten itself into some trouble as like a really toxic, horrible website, like kind of the chasm of the internet or whatever, where a bunch of trolls hang out and whatnot. That's kind of been the reputation that 4chan has garnered, but in reality, 4chan has been baiting the mainstream internet, I guess, for like the last 2 years into just ridiculous things. So let me go ahead and break this down. What 4chan will do is they'll make a post or whatever, and they'll basically plot on how they're gonna create like a big hoax or whatever to get people to completely overreact on the internet and just bullshit. And the first big instance is actually what Call of Duty is quote-unquote doing or combating right now. I mean, recently you might remember that I made a video where 4chan basically trolled a bunch of people into shaving their heads bald for Black Lives Matter. I mean, celebrities did it. I think Emma Watson even actually went through with it and shaved her head bald. I mean, they do pretty well at trolling. I mean, you can say whatever you want about them, but 4chan, they know how to troll, man. They know what they're up to. Now, like I said, if you've ever played a Call of Duty game, man, you've heard the worst things in human history uttered in those chats, right? And, well, Modern Warfare, they're trying to go ahead and kind of combat that a little bit more. As a matter of fact, there was a pretty big recent update to Modern Warfare and Warzone, which made a bunch of changes and did a bunch of stuff to the game and whatnot. But there's a couple secret changes pretty much with a lot of the updates that they do. And the one that a lot of people have figured out now and are talking about is the removal of the OK gesture from the game. The big mid-season update for Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Warzone made quite a few changes that were detailed in the patch notes. However, as is typical for big Call of Duty updates, some secret changes were made as well. As part of the latest update for Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Infinity Ward has seemingly removed the OK gesture from the game, and while an official reason hasn't been given, it's likely that it has something to do with how the symbol has become popular with white supremacists, okay? So, I just want people to think about that, right? We're talking about a video game that, you know, it takes place in modern times, it's Modern Warfare. Let's go ahead and think about what happens in Modern Warfare. Let's compare it to the OK symbol, which, by the way, is not a legitimate gesture that is used by anyone horrible. It's something that was completely socially acceptable, and then 4chan trolled a bunch of people into thinking that it was something bad. It's not actually anything bad, and it's fucking ridiculous that it's even gotten to the point where I need to explain that to people, but in Modern Warfare, you kill other people, okay? So let's think about that. You literally take guns, grenades, bombs, and kill streaks, and you kill people. That's the whole objective of the game. But not only do you kill people, you can commit literal war crimes in the game. There's a chemical kill streak called white phosphorus, which is actually banned on battlefields in real life because it basically eats your skin alive, burns you up. Pretty fucking bad way to die, but guess what? You can drop a whole plume of that right down the middle of the map in Modern Warfare and literally just melt people and their flesh up. You know, that's completely acceptable in the game. You can drop a literal fucking nuclear device on the map. If you get enough kills without dying, you can drop a literal nuclear bomb full on just Nagasaki the map, kill everyone, and end the game right there. That is completely possible and acceptable to do in the game. Within the campaign, you can kill civilians, sometimes literally killing mothers right in front of their children. There's depictions of terrorist attacks in places like Piccadilly Square in England, in which unarmed people in the districts of the city are completely killed by bombings and shootings. Now, think about all of those things, and then think about the OK gesture, which once again, it's not actually, you know, a racist symbol or anything like that. It's a big troll by a bunch of internet kids. Which one do you think Infinity Ward decided they wanted to take the moral high ground on? Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? So let's think about this a little bit more, right? Let's try and logically process it, right? If it isn't actually a symbol of it, why take it out? I mean, do you think anyone at Infinity Ward really actually did any research behind this and tried to figure out what the root cause of all this was? No, I mean, it is literally like a Google search away from figuring it out. But I mean, if you did that, you would have realized that, hey, maybe we're actually doing something stupid here, and it isn't actually going to combat anything bad, and we're wasting our time and making ourselves look stupid. But no, that hasn't been thought about, apparently. And I want to provide a possible point up here about this, okay? So if you've ever played an online game, right, especially one that requires you to work as teams, like maybe a Warzone would, or a team deathmatch mode in Modern Warfare would. You know that people are supposed to be communicating, especially like if you're joining in with randoms, turn your headset on, try and talk with them, communicate, and win the game. That's the point. But a lot of people just simply don't fucking do that, or they don't have a headset, or whatever the case may be. Symbols like that can actually, be a very good way to communicate in the game. I mean, let's say, hey, we want to push A-bomb, right? Is everyone good with that? Someone with a mic can flash that? Okay, guess what? You can communicate through that, but hey, we don't need that. We got to get that out of the game. But there's actually new updates all the time where they added new animations in which, somebody will be standing there just completely oblivious. You come up and hit them with an execution. They're standing there. You flip them over, bust their spinal cord, slice their chest open, or they're just standing there. You pick them up, you crack their back over your shoulder, and you slice their face. All kinds of stuff like that. But hey, that one gesture that actually isn't bad, we got to get rid of, man. Now also, let's just kind of think about this here now, right? Whatever. Let's go ahead and, for the sake of argument, for the benefit of the doubt, whatever, give them the point on this being maybe something bad. Let's just say that for argument's sake it is, and that the okay gesture has been turned into something terrible, okay? Don't you think that maybe the video game, I think most people would be able to realize that that's not what that means in the game, in the context of the video game, right? You're playing in the battlefields of these caverns in the Middle East and whatnot, or you're playing in what's essentially the Middle East and the Battle Royale map and whatnot. But wouldn't you think that maybe most people are smart enough to realize, oh, hey, that's not what this is actually saying? But I guess not. I don't know. And then let's also think about this as well, right? You want to get rid of that out of the game, even though it actually doesn't mean anything bad and it can actually be very helpful to have. Don't you think that just by doing that, you're actually creating more power behind what you're doing? I mean, because it's very fucking obvious. Do you really think that a bunch of, actual racists are all right, guys, meeting on Modern Warfare tonight at 8:30, we're going to get in a private match and flash the okay gesture at everybody, right? No, obviously, because that doesn't make sense. They're actually out in the real world doing bad shit. Nobody using this gesture in the game is using it under the context that they're trying to paint it, but now basically that you've taken this option away from people who could once again use it to legitimately communicate or whatever, whether they do or not is a completely different argument, but taking away that option, okay, now you're just giving it the power that you don't want it to have, right? If you think about it. Because if this is a horrible sign to throw up, right? Even to the point where it can't be in a Modern Warfare video game because it's that morally incorrect that it stands above literally dropping nuclear bombs, painting people down in war crime chemicals, shooting them to death, etc., right? Whatever, okay? Don't you think that maybe that's kind of ridiculous? When you think about it logically, and you might be just sitting there oh, Optimus, why do you care? Why is it a big deal? At the end of the day, it really isn't. It just comes down to how ridiculous the entire thing is, and that it makes no sense, and that it's not solving any real-world issue, right? Here in the United States, recently, there's been a lot of protests surrounding police reform, justice, things like that. And essentially what things like this do is they distract away from the real issues that the world faces and just makes a bunch of bullshit the more important moment. Because the world definitely has a lot of problems that really do need to be addressed. We really do, as a society, need to stand together and try and fix a lot of things going on. But think about that, right? There's people protesting for what they believe in right now. People are donating to charities, all kinds of different things that actually have, real world impact, and they're actually out there trying to get things to happen in the real world. And Infinity Ward, with all the money they make, they're not donating to these charities. With all the money that they make, they're not staging protests. With all the money that they make, they're not out here being actually, doing something to actually fix any of the problems that we as a society face. Instead, they're taking a fucking animation out of a video game, and for what? That's what we really need to think about here. Why are they doing this? Do you think that it's because they're actually trying to address the problems of the real world? Of course not. I don't think so, at least, because it doesn't fucking make sense. If Infinity Ward is really trying to address an issue here, they're doing a very horrible job at it, because once again, it's not like people are going to get on the game and be like, all right, fellas, we have an okay gesture meeting at 8:30 tonight on Azir Cave. Search and destroy, we're turning the timer off and just flashing it as much as we can, man. No, they're out in the real world doing bad shit, once again, and They don't care about this, right? People who are doing horrible things and causing problems, they're not looking at this like, well, we did it, guys. We got people to address our problems, and now we have eventually just been vanquished over time by the Call of Duty developers. There are no more problems on planet Earth. Everyone now lives in peace and harmony. You're like, come on. They're not even trying to spread a message because they did it secretly, right? If you think about it. If they wanted to make a big fucking moral stand or whatever, which would have been ridiculous, they would have been pretty vocal about it. You'd think like, hey, we stand alongside these people, you know, we're taking this out of the game because we think that it's bad. But no, they did this in secret. So it all kind of leads down to one little road here, and let's talk about that. The reason that they took this out of the game isn't to combat a problem, it's not to make a point, it's to cover their ass in case the media or somebody tries to take something out of context over a joke started on the internet, okay? Infinity Ward was probably having a little meeting and they're like, hey, we have this symbol here and, you know, a lot of people have been saying that it's tied to some bad stuff. Do you think we should get rid of it? Oh, well, hey, dude, if the media picks up on the fact that we have this in the game, I mean, we're basically toast. I can't imagine the articles that'll be written about us if we keep this in the game. That's why it's gone. It's not going to actually fix anything. It's not going to be, you know, a big stand with anybody, because they already did that apparently by adding a Black Lives Matter message to the start screen. They did it just to cover themselves in case any hit pieces got written about them. And you know what? I understand, right? You know, the media, they love to spin things out of context. They like to attack people. They like to make non-stories huge ones in order to, you know, draw a bunch of hate and ire and create division. I understand that, but at a certain point, you just got to kind of look at what you're doing and say, oh, hey, this is a little bit ridiculous. Maybe this doesn't need to happen. Maybe there's a better way to go about the things that we're trying to do here in the quote-unquote change that we're trying to enact. I mean, come on, man. It's absolutely just, it's ridiculous. It's obscene, and I don't know what they were thinking beyond just what I said, you know? I don't see how there could be a way out that wasn't down that path. So, I mean, that's all I really have to say about it. I'm sure that Infinity Ward is gonna, you know, take out something else. Maybe the white phosphorus or the nuclear devices that can go off in the game, the tactical nuke, because, you know, it isn't like, you know, nuclear bombs were used to kill hundreds of thousands of people in Japan back at the end of World War II or anything. Which, by the way, you know, I don't actually believe those things, right? I don't think that those should be taken out of the game. You know, I'm just, you know, using their logic against them. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus. Well, I guess removing the OK gesture from my channel entirely and signing out.